Listen up, bowlers. Are you looking to gain the mental edge over your competition? Do you ever need that extra burst of all-natural energy during league play? MindFrame is the first all-natural supplement packed with vitamins and all-natural ingredients to keep bowlers at the top of their game. Supports muscle recovery and joint support for the day after that long tournament. You cannot continue to neglect your most important tool, your body, if you want to win. Experience the striking power of MindFrame. Visit s3direct.com. That's s3direct.com. Above180.com, taking your bowling game to the next level. Tim Berg and Joey Serrar are ready to hit the lanes, approaching the issues that you, the bowler, want to know. From the latest equipment reviews and coaching to drilling layouts. Now, from Washington, D.C. and the Bowlers Pro Shop in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, here are your hosts, Tim Berg and Joey Serrar.
Joining us today is 34-time PBA Tour title champion Norm Duke. Norm has 7 majors, including 2 U.S. Opens, one of them coming a few weeks ago in New Jersey. Norm also has a new DVD out that is called Learn to Bowl Competitively, Bowling Lessons from a Legend. Norm, Tim Berg, and Joey Serrar, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Tim. Hello, Joey.
Nice welcome, Norm.
Yeah, and those are special moments. Even when I think even when we don't perform to our best, they're still special in that they stick with us for life.
Yes, they do. And I just 2 weeks ago was in a similar situation watching Mika try to make a 10-pin, and I can relate. I remember making that bucket and how I felt like throughout the whole approach, I felt like I didn't have a lower body. From the belt down, it was invisible, and I couldn't feel a thing. And, I was sitting in there at that seat watching him thinking, this is no gimme. I mean, this is a lot of pressure, and then it is Mika, so you'd figure it is a gimme. And then he just whiffed it.
Yeah, and it almost looked like to us that, he may have either stuck a little on the approach, and maybe that was a balance issue where he might have been, a little leaning too far forward, or he even mentioned he may have hung on his hand a little bit. And you know as well as I do, when we stick on the ball, it's generally our fault. It's not the ball's fault.
Well, yeah, and often that's the case in our environment with those lights and the heat. Just coming from the practice pair to the TV set, it took 3 or 4 shots of practice before everything in my hand puffed up. I couldn't clear the ball. You could see me trying to adjust the tape in the ball to accommodate the different environment. There's no telling what happened with Mika's 10-pin. I would say it's probably a little bit of all of that. But the main thing is, on the way to the line, it is amazing how you just can't feel everything. It's not like shooting a 10-pin in a practice session. This is for the U.S. Open. And I could tell, pressure got to him a little bit, I think.
Again, joining us on the Above180.com podcast is Norm Duke. Norm has a DVD out that me and Joey both recommend called Learning to Bowl Competitively, Bowling Lessons from a Legend. And Norm, I have a question. One of the things that I think that the average bowler, the 200, even sometimes a 200 average bowler kind of have this misconception that they hold the ball if they're right-handed, we're using the example, they hold the ball in their right hand. In the DVD, you talk about how it's just the opposite. You're supposed to mainly have that ball in your left hand.
Well, I really advocate that for 2 or 3 reasons. Number one, I want my right arm, which is my bowling arm, I want it to be as loose as possible. I don't want to start with tension. And if I'm holding 16 pounds in my right arm before I start, there is no way I can do that without tension. So I try to eliminate that. And then when I deliver the ball from my non-bowling arm to my bowling arm, I want it to be really free, and I want it to take its own path. And if I'm shoving that thing out there with my bowling arm, it's really hard to free up that swing. And then lastly, I use it as a timing mechanism, Tim, where I deliver the weight of the ball from my non-bowling arm to my bowling arm. At the same time, I deliver my body weight from my left foot to my right. So my right arm and my right leg catch the weight exactly at the same time. Well, if I have started with the weight in my right arm, I really can't deliver that weight. So now timing, I don't have a timing key. which is so very important. You know, I haven't been off timing in so long, I don't even think about timing anymore, in fact. It's probably been 25 years since I've even thought about it, and that's the reason. Because every shot I throw, I know my timing's right in step one.
I have a couple deep questions for you, Norm. At least, in my opinion, they're deep. But what do you feel distinguishes your game from other top pros? Because, I mean, you're competing against the world's best bowlers, and yet you find a way to win oftentimes when others don't.
Well, I think one of the things that I'm most proud of is my versatility. I built that. I figured out early on the tour, if I have to wait on a condition to come to me with that much time on the road, then I'm going to be a miserable, miserable man. I want to have a chance to win every time I shoe up. And one-dimensional bowlers, they have to wait on their condition, you know, and I sympathize with the left side of the lane for that very reason. So the versatility is everything, I think. When you say what separates me, I'm not a real big player. I can't create some of the power that these guys, I can't throw it 35, 40 feet down a lane like some of these. And I'm really being serious. They throw it 30 feet down the lane. I cannot do that physically. So I have to do things with the lane. I have to make sure that I'm playing a part of the lane that's going to yield the highest scoring environment. So, in a sense, I'm saying I have to play the shot every time I go out there. And if I'm not versatile, I can't get to the shot. You can't point the ball up if you're not versatile enough to point balls, and you can't swing the ball out to the gutter if you're not schooled on how to give the head pin away and create maximum rotation.
Right. So speaking of your versatility, Norm, how many releases do you have?
Well, I call it infinite. You know, they're not an A and a B and a C and a D. It's infinite. If you can dream the release, you can throw it. I don't utilize a full roller release in competition. I do utilize a backup ball. So there are things that I don't utilize, but that doesn't mean that I can't do it. And if there's something out there that I don't do very well, that's really one thing that I'm good about, is I throw resources at deficiencies. It's one thing when you're really good at playing the gutter and you go out there and you watch somebody and that's all they ever do is play the gutter and they're great at it, but they're not getting that much better because they were already good at it. I take the deficiencies and throw maximum resources at it so that maybe if I improve that area of my game, then my improvement is exponential. And that's really one of the things that I learned a long, long time ago is throw all the resources at what you're bad at.
So, Norm, talk to the bowler who might be a regional player. They maybe come out and do the regional tournaments, whatever, you know, the region they are in. What separates them from being able to compete with the likes of you, Bill O'Neill, Mike Scroggins, Tom Hess, Jason Belmonte? What separates them on a weekly basis?
Well, if it was just one thing, there would be no separation. It's a lot of things. I mean, the mental game, you know, you could write 10 books on just the mental game alone. So you know, you'd have to start there. The spare game, you have to start there, and then the ability to read lanes, to fast forward what a lane is going to do over time while you're on the floor, so that you can keep up with the shot. The ability to change pairs, and all the way down to your routines. You know, I've got down to a power. I know when I have to eat prior to a round, or otherwise I get hungry. I know when to rest and to sleep and to nap and to meditate. All these things I didn't know when I was 18 years old and I went out on tour. You have to learn these things. And then you have to build a game that can hold up when the pressure's on. And a lot of these regional players are awesome bowlers. They really are awesome bowlers. Then you see them compete, and they just really don't compete like they practice. And, although we can't put our finger on it, the main thing is it's just a different environment and one that you have to get used to and you have to get acclimated with.